Hello everyone, this is HTJ Halloween, and today I'm going to be reviewing for you guys the Cocooned Corpse. So the category I'll be starting off with today, as usual, is concept. But before I get into that, I do want to remind all you guys that there will be a link to my HTJ Halloween Instagram down in the description below, or you can search it up at HTJ_Halloween. And I also will have my Spirit Halloween affiliate link where you guys can shop on Spirit Halloween's website at no extra cost to you, while also helping out the channel in the process. And I will make sure to have those promo codes down there for you guys as well. There will also be a link to specifically buy the Cocooned Corpse if you are looking to get him today. Alright, so for the concept, obviously the Cocooned Corpse fits the sort of theme of an upside down hanging body bag type prop, which we have seen in the past, and I know that some people have compared the Cocooned Corpse to other types of props like this, none of which I own, but there's ones like Bloody Bag of Jokes, which I think people really liked, and there was another one that I think came before that. So even though this concept you could arguably say that it's not unique because it's kind of a re-theme of things that we have seen in the past. In my personal opinion, I think that it is really original because the idea of having a human body that has been completely covered in the spider webs and has been tangled up, and I think the way that the animation and the audio, how it all comes together, trying to make it look like this person that's stuck in this cocoon, is definitely a unique concept that we hadn't really ever seen something quite like this in the past, and it's one of the very few spider animatronics that we have seen as well. So overall for the concept, I think it was a really cool one, a really awesome spider idea. I'm glad that it's in Spirit Halloween for 2018, and I am going to be giving it a 10 out of 10. The next category is price. Now, Cocooned Corpse is selling for $159.99 at Spirit Halloween right now. He is a Spirit Halloween exclusive, so that's the only price you should be able to find him at. And as far as the price goes, comparing it to some of the other ones that we have this year and from previous years, I would say that it's a bit of a disappointment. I feel like I wish they had priced this at least about $20 lower, maybe something like, because it's $160, so if maybe it was like $140, maybe $150, it would have been okay. I just don't feel like this thing is fully worth $160, and I can definitely convince you about that if I just throw out some of these facts about other prices here. And the Cocooned Corpse is selling for the same as all of the sitting scares, which I think most people would argue are more worth $160 than this body bag. Also, you can only spend $40 more to get something as big and amazing as the Towering Clown. So when you really think about that, of course it does depend on your taste and how much money you're willing to spend at all. I do feel like only $40 more for something like Towering Clown that's made of metal, that has a ton more animation, a whole, face detail and all of that stuff. It's kind of like, how could this thing possibly only be $40 less than that? You would expect it to be like half of that. So that's another thing to note. The other thing is that it's going for the exact same as Rocking Horse Dolly, who is also one of the best props this year. She's only going for $160, so her price is great, but I would not expect to see a prop like this cost the same as something as amazing as her. And the last thing that I will say is that for only $30, or for $30 less, you can get something like Lost Her Way, which I think a lot of people would argue is better than the Cocooned Corpse. So when you're just comparing this price tag to all of the other prices that we've seen at Spirit for this year, you kind of start to realize that maybe there's some better places to put your money. However, it's not extremely overpriced. It's not the worst overpricing that we've seen. Like I said, I would say just $20 to $30 less would have been the best price for them to have this at. So anyways, because of all of this, I am going to be giving the Cocooned Corpse a 6 out of 10. There's probably better places to spend $160 this year. So the next category is the setup, and there's really not that much to say about the setup because honestly it was the easiest setup that I have ever seen. It literally comes in the box all in one piece, and then you just put these spiders on. So it was very self-explanatory, nothing confusing at all, didn't even require instructions. So for that reason, it's just going to be getting a 10 out of 10. The next category is animation, so I'll go ahead right now and plug him in for you guys. He has a plug all the way up at the top right here that's coming down. And I think that his animation is probably one of the best aspects. Alright, so I'll go ahead and unplug this. Now keep in mind, for this score, I won't be taking into account the audio because that is its own separate category. However, I will be talking about just the movement that it has and the lights. Now, it doesn't have any lighting on it, which isn't necessarily a disappointment because you wouldn't expect something like this to have lights. However, it does have a really realistic and awesome motion with the twisting of its torso and the lifting up of its head. And in my personal opinion, I think that both of those features and movements come together to make it look really realistic, as if there's someone actually inside of this cocoon, spiderweb cocoon. And all of that animation, I think, definitely was executed perfectly to go for what they were going for with this Cocooned Corpse. I definitely think that it has impressed me, and I will be giving it a 10 out of 10 for the animation category. The next category is audio, and I'm not going to activate him again, but if you just look at that one activation that I showed you, or if you've seen the demo or any videos of him, the audio, I think, is really, really awesome. It definitely fits him well, and it's just sort of a muffled screaming that sounds like it's coming from within this cocoon. And overall, I think it just adds to its realisticness. I think that the audio and the animation combine together to make for a really realistic look as far as the way that it moves and what it does. And I definitely really like the audio as well, so I am giving it a 10 out of 10 for its audio. The next category is size. There's really not that much to say for this category because this one, I think, pretty much was the size that we all would have expected for it. Some people say they thought that it would be a little bit larger, but I think personally that it does look just the size that I would want from it. It is 56 inches tall, but then also you have to add in the factor that it is probably going to be hanging from something. So, you know, like this, it does look a bit larger and more realistic when it's actually hung up from a higher point, which equates to 4 foot 8 inches. So it's sort of small, but it's at least a relatively realistic size. It also has a 15-inch long width right here. So, and personally, I think that the size just looks realistic and looks like what I would expect. I definitely wasn't disappointed about it or surprised in any way. So I am giving it a full 10 out of 10. Category is detail, and the main thing that I'll just be talking about is the look of all of these little detail spiders instead of the actual spider webbing itself, because I would incorporate that into the next category, which is the clothing category. So as far as these spiders go, I know that a lot of people had an upfront problem with them as soon as they saw the sneak peek video, because in a lot of people's opinions, it just looks pretty tacky, and that's okay, but I just wish that they would have had a lower price tag to match the cheapness of the look. The animation and the audio is definitely really impressive, but the upfront look of it is not anything too amazing. I think if they really wanted to give this thing some more character and make it stand out a little bit more this year, they could have added a big mother spider right on the top here because, you know, it's been cocooned, obviously by something a bit larger than these spiders, and then that might have made it, you know, stand out a little bit more and maybe made it a little bit more worth that $160 price tag. So as far as the detail of these spiders and the look of them goes, I'm fine with it for what's going to go on in my display, and I think a lot of people would agree that, you know, it's good enough. However, for the price tag and just for how it really looks from an objective standpoint, I am going to have to give it a 6 out of 10 because it's not the most impressive thing that we've seen from Spirit. The next category is clothing, so this is going to be a bit of a stretch because this is really the only prop that I have that doesn't actually have clothing, but I guess I would just talk about the spider webbing. And in my opinion, the spider webbing does look really good, the way that they have it all kind of, you know, drawn out across it, especially kind of in this area here. It does look like a realistic cocoon effect, and if you saw my demo, it actually almost looks better if you kind of pull it out like this to make it look like it's been attached to the surrounding wall or wherever you have it. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is that you can kind of improve the appearance of this if you just kind of play around with that spider webbing a little bit. So there really isn't that much else to say about the spider web on it because it's a pretty simple idea. Underneath of it, there is just kind of some white, like, just pillow kind of material. There's white fabric underneath of it, so that it kind of all comes together and looks like it's fully spider web. The IR sensor is right here, and then the other thing is this does have kind of a weird part on its neck where it's all kind of wrapped around and tied up here, but I guess that was just a feature they needed to have for however they put it together or the movement or something. That part does look a little bit strange, but other than that, I think that the spider webs do really give it a realistic look, and then again, they can be kind of pulled out and made to look even better if you just kind of play around with it. So I am giving it a 10 out of 10 for the clothing category. The next category is scare factor. Now, obviously, this prop doesn't really bring to the table any sort of jump scare or necessarily even really any standout creepiness like some of the other props are trying to go for. It's not the most scary that we've seen. However, it definitely serves the intended purpose as far as definitely scaring some people that are very afraid of spiders and also really making a display come to life, a spider display. If you deck something out with spider webs and add some of these guys to it, it makes it a little bit more creepy and definitely adds some character to it. So it's not the creepiest thing that we've seen, but again, its intention wasn't to be all that scary, and it definitely just has a bit of a creepy vibe with thinking that there's a person stuck in this cocoon, and you are gonna want to get away from this spidery display. So I am gonna be giving it a 10 out of 10 for scare factor. The next category, or the last category as well, is durability. And this thing definitely has some good durability because it's made out of this entire, foam stuffing material. And even down here where all of the mechanisms are, it's covered in foam and very protective materials. It all can just be shoved back into the box and folded up. I think even if it fell from pretty high, it wouldn't really have that high of a risk of breaking. There's nothing in here that is really going to bust on you that easily. And I think that this is going to be one that would really last you for a long time, even if it's activating over and over again. There's nothing crazy jolty that would end up, breaking it, unless maybe it fell on its head or someone punched it or something. But overall, this is one that you're really not going to have a problem with its durability. So I am giving it a 10 out of 10 for the durability category. So that concludes all of the different categories that I have for my review, and just to summarize, it has a 10 for concept, a 6 for price, a 10 for setup, a 10 for animation, a 10 for audio, a 10 for size, a 6 for the detail, a 10 for the clothing, a 10 for the scare factor, and a 10 for durability. Only had 8 points off, one because the price is just a little bit higher than I would expect for something like this, and also because the detail is just a little bit tacky, especially when partnered with that higher price tag. So overall, that is going to add up to a 92% prop. So for this review, I do give the Cocooned Corpse an A- rating. I kind of feel like as far as my favorites in order go, I would give it a lower score because it's not my favorite for this year, but objectively, with all those categories added together, it's really not all that bad of a prop. I think that an A- is a fair rating for it, and you can let me know what your thoughts are in the poll that should have popped up when the score came up, as well as in the comment section below if you want to kind of elaborate on what you think of Cocooned Corpse. Let me know if you're planning on buying the Cocooned Corpse this year, or if you're trying to do some sort of a spider theme display, because I am this year, and I definitely think that the Cocooned Corpse is a must-have for anyone who is trying to bring to life some sort of spider web, spider themed display, as well as the roaming spider, which I'm also hoping to get this year as well. So the Cocooned Corpse, although it isn't one of my favorites this year, I think it's one that when thrown into some sort of a spider display, it's not going to be the center of attention, but it's definitely going to bring life to your house this year for Halloween, and definitely is going to be a little bit more family friendly as well. So again, a link to buy the Cocooned Corpse and just my Spirit Halloween affiliate link in general will be down in the description with some promo codes to help you with that higher price tag on the Cocooned Corpse. So anyways guys, that is going to finish it off for this video. I hope you all have enjoyed, and anyways, I will see you guys next time.